With multiple international theme parks, a world-class animation studio, and massive movie studio, the Walt Disney Company has become one of the biggest companies in the world. So naturally, they're no stranger to lawsuits. When you sue a worldwide giant like Disney, you have a better shot at getting more money. They have a lot of it. Disney has been sued a countless number of times, and it would take all day to cover them all. So today, we're focusing on Disney lawsuits that are just plain strange and questionable to say the least. As for if any of these cases have any merit, well, that's for you to decide. Let's get started. Number 5. The Disney parks are no stranger to guests with disabilities, and because of this, they carry a wide selection of wheelchairs and scooters to assist anyone who needs them. But for one guest in 2007, this just wasn't enough. Tina Bauman, who has muscular dystrophy, sued the Walt Disney Company because she couldn't use her Segway at Disneyland, where she planned to celebrate her daughter's 8th birthday. The Segway was her preferred transportation because of her limited walking ability. So what does Disney have against Segways? Well, the court ruling explained that Disney produced expert evidence to the effect that Segways pose a substantial risk of injury in the crowded confines inside the park due to the vehicle's design, and Bauman did not counter this evidence with expert evidence of her own. So, the state's 4th District Court of Appeal ultimately decided that Disney can prohibit Segways because they are unsafe inside the theme parks. Disney has since developed its own 4-wheel standing scooter that can be used by disabled visitors as an alternative to Segways. Number 4. I love the holiday season at Disney World. I mean, who doesn't? Okay, I'm sure there's a few people who don't. Those Christmas crowds can get a little insane. But during the 2016 Disney holiday season, a man named Michael was fuming for a different reason. What led to this guest's dissatisfaction? Well, like most guests who visit the parks at Christmas time, Michael wanted to see the nighttime parade. So when Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Parade began, Michael rushed to a new location to find himself a great seat. He didn't watch where he was going. Michael tripped on a sidewalk and injured himself in the process. Most people would have just laughed it off and continued on with their day. But Michael took a far more ridiculous route and lawyered up. And I'm not kidding here, he claimed that the darkness required to host the parade caused his fall. Had the lights been on, he would have seen the step up on the sidewalk and avoided injury. But it doesn't end there. Michael also blamed the Disney cast members. He claimed that while several were around, none bothered to warn him about the incline. Kinda feel like you're contradicting yourself here, man. I mean, you're saying it was too dark for you to see where you were going, but that it was bright enough for the cast members to catch you before you fall. Disney refers to these sorts of lawsuits as slip and fall claims. I guess that some feel it's more fun to sue Disney for a quick buck than take accountability for their own carelessness. But it's not like Disney will hand you a check on the spot. Slip and fall lawsuits will usually result in a lengthy court case, which you're unlikely to win unless you have a decent amount of evidence to prove that the fall wasn't a result of your own clumsiness. Needless to say, our friend Michael didn't stand a chance. Number 3. When you're a kid visiting Disneyland, nothing is more exciting than meeting your favorite Disney character for the very first time. But for 10-year-old Debbie Lopez, this experience was anything but magical. In 1978, Debbie visited Disneyland with her family and wanted to hug Winnie the Pooh. What happened next, though, is unclear. If you believe the family of the little girl, Winnie wasn't playing nice. According to their side of the story, the character assaulted the young girl. She ended up bruised and suffered from recurring headaches. So, naturally, the family sued, seeking $15,000. The lawsuit went to trial, and Winnie the Pooh's performer, a man named Robert Hill, was called to the stand. First, he testified that the girl came up behind him and gave him a little tug, and he spun around and accidentally made contact with her. The Disney lawyer working the case worried that the jury wasn't buying the testimony, so he asked the cast member to come back in full costume. You heard that right. A Los Angeles courthouse once featured a person in a Winnie the Pooh costume walking into the room and heading straight to the witness stand. By acting out the events in costume, the cast member demonstrated that he couldn't have slapped the girl in the face as she claimed. In fact, the costume was designed in a way that made it physically impossible. Not only was it soft and furry, but the arms were too low to hit the ground. After less than a half hour of deliberations, the jury found for Disney, ruling that Pooh wasn't liable for the girl's injuries. It's great to know that Winnie the Pooh was just as lovable then as he is today. Number 2. The Tower of Terror is one of my favorite attractions at Disney World. It's spooky, thrilling, and an excellent painkiller. Wait, what? Okay, several years ago, a woman named Denise Moody suffered an unfortunate incident involving endometriosis. The outcome from her multiple surgeries to address the issue was a tremendous amount of scar tissue in her abdomen and other parts of her body. Denise would experience constant pain because of this, and it wasn't until one fateful day at Walt Disney World that she would find a suitable remedy for this pain. When riding Tower of Terror, Denise's body experienced the zero-gravity sensations followed by the immediate restoration of gravity afterward. This movement had an unexpected impact on her. It upended her scar tissue, therefore temporarily relieving her of pain. Due to its surprising health benefits, Tower of Terror quickly became her favorite ride.
Ever since I've been riding the Tower of Terror, I now only have to have surgery once a year versus multiple surgeries a year.
By Denise's own account, she was riding the attraction up to 50 times a day. So how did she pull this off? She got her hands on a guest assistance pass, which allowed her to cut to the front of the line. But one day, a new terror would arise in the form of a new manager. The manager told Denise that she could only go on Tower of Terror 4 times, and that she could no longer use the backstage entrance. This resulted in a shouting match with a cast member, who felt that the victim was abusing her guest assistance pass privileges. After verbally abusing the staff, Denise was eventually banned from the park and sued Disney for breach of contract, false arrest, and emotional distress. The court dismissed her claim as it was held that although she was an annual pass holder, she was not entitled to extraordinary and unlimited access over any other regular ticket holder. Number 1. The number 1 spot on this list has more to do with Disney's movie studio than its parks. In fact, the lawsuit I'm about to talk about isn't the first of its kind either. Disney has been sued multiple times in regards to its feature films. In 2017, Gary Goldman, a fairly successful Hollywood screenwriter who wrote Minority Report, sued Disney over Zootopia, claiming that the film was his idea. Screenwriters and producers have made similar claims about Cars and Monsters, Inc., but none of these come close to the ridiculousness of the lawsuit filed by Isabella Tanakumi. The suit alleged that the movie Frozen was a ripoff of her memoirs, particularly one called Yearnings of the Heart, which described her family's struggles in the mountainous region of Peru. Keep in mind that the movie Frozen is a film about 2 princesses, one of whom has magical ice powers. The film also features shipwrecked parents, talking trolls, and a living snowman who sings about summer. And this author claimed that Frozen is her life story. Did I mention that she sued Disney for $250 million? And believe it or not, Isabella listed a total of 18 instances where she believed the story was too similar to her life. This woman was not a princess, did not have a sister with magic ice powers, and grew up in Peru. Sounds like Isabella just needed to let it go, let it go. Okay, that was a little corny. Thankfully, a district court judge put a stop to this madness, stating that the similarities she alleges between her memoir and Frozen are not substantial. The 2 stories are entirely different. So that wraps up my list of the 5 strangest Disney lawsuits. Do you believe any of these lawsuits had any merit? Do you think any of these people were justified in their actions? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright y'all, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a magical day!